Hi guys, so for one of my first YouTube videos, I wanted to make a story time, and I love watching story times on YouTube. Like, I spend hours on there and like hearing other people's experiences and whatnot. Like, so as like from the title, you can tell that I've been living with a ghost, and I've seen like many like paranormal like accounts and whatnot, and I've always been into the paranormal, but until recently I received a haunted doll for Christmas, and at the time we didn't know it was haunted. We had our suspicions, but yeah, it's getting kind of crazy. And we just finished our sage ritual yesterday, and we did a bunch of Catholic prayers, and since then everything has stopped and the doll is currently outside, but I think I'll just get to it. So anyway, one of my best friends, she lives up in Oregon, and she visits down here all the time because this is where one of her parents are. So around like the holiday season, she kept coming here, and I saw her a little before Christmas, and she had gotten me, like up in an antique store or something, a really like life-size, I guess you could say, doll, and its eyes would like, it's the one that you put back and its eyes would just like close and whatnot. Anyway, it was so creepy looking, but it was a thought that counted, and I love antiques and she knew it, and that's why she got it for me, and it even had like an antique dress on. So I was like, you know what, like this is kind of cool but creepy, but that makes it even more cool, and that's why I like it. We decided to name her Amelia, and we put her in like the front living room, so like right when you walk into my house, it's like a living room, you know, if that makes sense. So we have like two living rooms technically. So she was like sitting in the couches there, and I don't know how to explain this, but the first things we kind of like started seeing were like little orbs. Like they'd be like about that big, and they'd be black and white, and they would just disappear. And at first I thought it was my eyes playing tricks on me, but my sister and my parents even saw the same things, but we didn't want to like think too much of it. And then we started like hearing like noises, you know, like we would feel like it'd be like being watched, and then we'd hear like a cat hissing inside the house. And we don't have cats, like we are not cat people. We love dogs. My dad at first was like, maybe it's a cat outside, but you could tell the difference when you hear a sound outside rather than inside. But this is the thing about the cat noise. It didn't sound entirely like a cat. It sounded like a human mimicking a cat. Like a little girl was going like, if that makes sense. And we would hear it in the front living room where the doll was. We'd hear and it was just like so weird, and like I would even hear like giggles here and there, but they'd be very faint. And there was one occasion where my parents went out to eat with my sister, so I was home alone, and I was gonna go to the movies later on, like in an hour or so from that time, and so I was home alone, and I just felt so uncomfortable. I felt like I was being watched, and then I like lightly heard my name, like Alex, like a little girl calling my name, and I thought that was so scary. I cannot tell you, when it was time for me to leave, I like booked it out of the house and I couldn't get out like fast enough. Anyway, then it started getting like, we would see our family members, but it wasn't really us, if that makes sense. Like my sister said that she was walking across the top of the stairs, and she looked downstairs and she thought she saw me like walking by, and my sister was like, oh Alex, and then my sister realized I wasn't home. So that wasn't me. Obviously I wasn't home. Like I don't know how I could transport. One of the scariest things that happened was, we have like a hallway, like an upstairs hallway, like it goes like this, and at the end of the hallway is my sister's room. But on the other sides of the hallway, it's my room and like the office. So if you're just going straight into the hallway and go to my sister's room, you have like a view of her, the end of her bed and her window. But right away, like unless you look to the sides, you can't see the front of her bed and where her chair is. Does that make sense? So like you walk into her room and the first thing you see is her window and the end of her bed. Anyway, I had gone downstairs to get cookies and milk. I remember that. I was walking down the hallway, and I was like, oh, like instead of going into my room, I'm gonna go into my sister's room, because the door's open and I haven't seen my sister. Like during the week we never see each other because we're always like studying and I'm out. I walk into her room, and I automatically like normally like see her the end of her bed, and I see her standing at the end of her bed. Like she's literally looking at the wall, her back is to me, and she's standing like this, like, and I was like, this is weird, because something was different about her, and I realized her hair, she has a very dark brown hair, but I noticed her hair was so light, and it looked weird, like I felt eerie, and I was like, Andrea, and right when I said her name, she ducked behind the bed. And so in order to see what's ducked behind the bed, I would have to go over there. I went over there, and she like, I remember her specifically going like this and ducking, and I went over there and she was gone. She wasn't there at all. There was no way she could have like walked right past me, like, or disappeared. There was no way. There's no way she could have gone under the bed. Like, it's one of those beds that there's like no room, like, except to stuff like boxes underneath. And I was so creeped out. I felt like my face just like drain, and I was just like, oh my god, oh my god. And I felt like I was gonna faint, and I turned around, and on the front of the bed where the chair is, my actual sister was sitting there on her phone, and my sister was like, what just happened? And then my sister saw my face. She was like, Alex, please don't tell me. And I was like, oh my god, like, you won't believe this. Like, and I told my sister, and my sister's like, you know, I've been seeing weird things too. There was another occasion where I'm in a club at school, and there's like two presidents, so to say. So the president and she's one of my really good friends now. And her family, like, since my family's Hispanic and hers is, everybody gets along. So when she comes over, her whole family comes over. And there was a point where our whole families, like both of our families, were in the front living room. And they saw the doll. And the doll was on the floor. Her back was tilted up against the edge. Like, she was sitting on the floor, but she was sitting up against the edge of the sofa, one of the sofas. So she was like this, like, I don't know if you guys can see that, like, angled like this. So there's no way she's gonna like fall over or tilt or anything like that. And we were looking at the doll, and out of nowhere, the doll literally gets up, like, she slightly gets up and just stops like this, and her arms are out. And my friend and I were screaming. We were just like, oh my god, like, this is not a joke anymore. And her mom is very like Catholic, like my family, and her mom was like freaking out and like praying. You have to move something the opposite way. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, an object can't move by itself like that. Another incident was before we left to California. Like, I was joking around with my mom. I'm like, oh, if anybody tries to like rob our house, let me put the doll on the couch. So like the first thing they see when they walk in the house is the doll, and that scares them away, you know? I sat the doll on the couch, and like right when I was leaving, I was like, bye, Amelia. And I freaking kid you not. People of YouTube, pray for me. It went like,
I cannot tell you, I was so scared, and I was like, oh my god, like, I want to go to California, I want to go as far away from here as I can.
So you guys see that hanger right on my door, right? Anyway, so if you were to slam my door, that hanger would be hitting my door like and make like a super loud noise. So I was getting ready for school one morning, and I was putting a dress on, and it was like I was getting stuck in it. But I finally, like, it was Lace, so I look over, and my dog, she sleeps with me, and I know she's staring at the door, and she's like, when a dog's about to bark, like their defense, like little warning, I guess you could say. And I was just like, oh, whatever. And I finally make it through, and right when I pull the dress over my head, I hear that bag hanger, whatever it is, go against my door, like really, really loud. And right when I turn, it stopped. And the door hadn't moved, the door wasn't slammed, like nothing. I don't know how you could explain that. And my sister was asleep, and her door's like her room's right next to mine. And I asked her, I was like, hey Andy, like, did you hear that? And she's like, what are you talking about? I love spirits, I love good spirits, but I can't do this. I can't do this, so it's just, I don't know how to explain it. This doll, I don't feel anything like bad necessarily from it, but anything paranormal that he experienced is out of our norm, so of course it's going to be scary. I wanted to throw it away or just give it away, but the thing is, if I throw it away, I don't want to disrespect the spirit, and I would not want to put that upon someone else if I gave it back to charity or whatever, because what happens, like, in my house, it's uncomfortable, and I wouldn't want that for anybody else. So, my best friend and her grandmother actually FaceTimed me last night. And as they're FaceTiming me, I'm sitting where I am, and right on top of my record player is my laptop, and I had put it to sleep. And I was talking to one of my best friends and her grandmother, and I was like, you know, the doll, this and that. They're telling me to, like, get rid of it. We will not be offended. Like, we totally understand. That's not cool what's happening. Like, that's scary. And as we're talking about getting rid of the doll, my laptop, like, it's opened, but it's, like, turned off, so to say. It turns on, and it starts playing music by itself. And I was just like, and it was, like, this song from the Mystic Braves, like, new album, Born to Get You. And it was like, I was born to get to you. And I thought that was so creepy, like, I don't know. So as of now, the doll is outside. we are trying to contact like any museums that would take her to contain her, because we don't want to disrespect the spirit and we don't want to just like give it away. My family and I were very strong in our faith. We're Catholic, so we did a bunch of our prayers yesterday with some sage. As of now, like, it feels lighter and whatnot, but we do not wish to bring the doll in the house. But I will take this camera outside and I'll show you what Amelia looks like. So please do not be mean to her. I know she's kind of scary. I know she's really old, but the thing is, I don't know, I feel kind of bad. Like, I'm attached to this doll, but at the same, like, I don't know why. That scares me. Like, I don't want to get rid of her. And I don't know if that's because, like, she's, like, connected to me or whatnot. But anyway, that has been an overall view of what's been happening. So hearing little voices, and I'll let you guys know what happens to Amelia, what we decide to do with her, and if anything else occurs, who knows, maybe I'll make another story time. But thanks for listening and watching. If you liked my story time video, give it a thumbs up. I'm kind of new to YouTube, so sorry if it wasn't like really good, but it's not my intent to try to make you guys believe in all this or trying to put my religion on you and whatnot, but I just wanted to give you guys a real life situation out of my life, because I know I'm not the only one that, you know, sees these things and hears these things. And so yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys, and sorry if I scared any of you guys, because I'm like really scared talking about it right now. But anyway, yeah, so I'll see you guys later. Bye. But this is Amelia. She is this big compared to me. She's really scary. Like, I admit, like, she's super scary. And this dress didn't come with her, so they like got her naked. But yeah, she's just, look at that. Like, look at her. Like, oh, this is what happened when she blinked at me. She went like that. And yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sorry, they're freaking out. Like, they're like